FinWizard is an educational platform to learn about finance and seek financial advice from the best advisors.
Are your plans for wealth and financial freedom on target, or behind schedule? Below is a quick and dirty self-test that will show you, at a glance, how your wealth building measures up. I also include a few tips to improve your future results. But before we can start, we must first agree on the best financial measuring stick to use. The obvious answer is net worth, but it's not that simple. There are some nuances that must be considered. Average savings by age, a quick way to measure if you're on track for building wealth. Is a 30-year-old with a $50,000 net worth necessarily less successful at building wealth than a 60-year-old with $200,000? The 60-year-old has a lot more money, but a lot less time. How do you take into account age differences, inheriting money, lifestyle differences, and lifetime earnings differences? In The Millionaire Next Door by Stanley and Danko, the authors provided a reasonably workable formula for judging your success or failure at building wealth. The formula is as follows. Multiply your age times your realized pre-tax annual household income from all sources except inheritances. Divide by 10. This, less any inherited wealth, is what your net worth should be. This formula is hardly revolutionary because it's little more than a twist on the classic 10% savings rule. It's a tried and proven formula based on sound mathematics. While it isn't perfect because there are many additional considerations such as inflation, taxes, and interest rates to factor in, it does provide a useful approximation that serves as a quick, simple, and easy to calculate snapshot of how well you're progressing toward financial freedom. For example, if you were a 35-year-old earning $100,000 per year with no inheritances, then you should have a net worth of $350,000 because 35 by 100,000, 10, equals $350,000. A person in this situation would be considered on track for reasonable wealth accumulation. He isn't a super achiever, but he isn't lagging either. Now it's time for you to calculate your number using your age and earnings. Have you calculated it yet? If not, please do it now before reading on. Average savings by age group breakdown. Below are the 6 age groups used by the Federal Reserve Board to measure mean transaction account balances by age. As part of the organization's survey of consumer finances. Although this data doesn't capture the savings data of every single person in the United States, it functions as a representative sample that helps highlight financial trends that can help economists assess needs and individuals evaluate where they stand compared with peers. Additionally, 2 age groups, less than 35 and 45 to 54, reported all-time high savings in 2019. Less than 35 age group, the average transaction account balance for respondents younger than 35 was $11,250 in 2019, which is the lowest amount among the 6 age groups. The less than 35 category has also reported the most consistent transaction account balances since the first survey in 1989. With the only real outlier being a dip in 1995. This is one of the hardest age groups to get a clear picture of regarding mean savings, as it includes teenagers as well as young adults who could have more than 10 years in the workforce. 35 to 44 age group, the average transaction account balance for respondents 35 to 44 years of age was $27,910 in 2019. The second lowest amount. Like the less than 35 group, the 35 to 44 category has also reported relatively steady transaction account balances over the years. albeit with more noticeable upward growth and a dip every 2 to 3 survey periods. Although 35 to 44-year-old respondents presumably enjoyed higher wages than the prior age group, they were also likely facing greater expenses, potentially including increased childcare costs, higher taxes, and a mortgage. 45 to 54 age group. The average transaction account balance for respondents 45 to 54 years of age was $48,200 in 2019, the third lowest amount. Following a drop after the initial survey in 1989, the 45 to 54 category has experienced strong upward savings growth over the years barring 2 dips, the largest of which nearly dropped below the 35 to 44 mean balance in 2013. Respondents who were 45 to 54 years old were the least likely to still be paying off their student debt, as federal loans generally take 10 to 30 years to repay, but those with children also may have been putting their own savings toward financing higher education for their children. 55 to 64 age group. The average transaction account balance for respondents 55 to 64 years of age was $57,670 in 2019, the second highest amount. The account balances of the 55 to 64 age group kept a close pace with those of the 65 to 74 category, overtaking both the latter group and the 75 or older category in 1998 and 2010. These frequent spikes may have been a result of 55 to 64-year-old respondents putting more money toward their savings as their retirement ages were rapidly approaching. 65 to 74 age group. The average transaction account balance for respondents 65 to 74 years of age was $60,410 in 2019, which is the highest amount out of all 6 groups. In addition to keeping pace with the savings of the 55 to 64 category, the 65 to 74 age group has also overtaken the 75 or older category since 1995. Excluding the former small dip and the latter's large spike in 2004. By this age, as respondents were leaving the workforce and entering retirement, this group's account balances would be reaching their peak levels. 75 or older. The average transaction account balance for respondents ages 75 and older was $55,320 in 2019, the third highest amount. Account balances for the 75 or older category have arguably been the most erratic, given that they started out on top in 1989, fell until 1998, reached their peak in 2004, plummeted to their second lowest amount in 2007, mostly recovered by 2013, and have since been relatively stable. As people in this age group are mostly no longer receiving income, outside of Social Security, pensions, etc., their savings would naturally diminish over time, hence the mostly lower balance compared with the other older age groups. The good news: the percentage of respondents with transaction accounts has been trending upward over time. When the survey was first conducted in 1989, most age groups reported figures from 85% to 91%. The only exception was the less than 35 category, which was a little more than 5% below the next lowest age group. What is the 50/30/20 rule? The 50/30/20 budget rule is a plan for dividing after-tax income to help people reach their financial goals, with 50% being spent on needs, 30% spent on wants, and 20% put into savings. Bonus advice. The main takeaway from the Federal Reserve data is that it's crucial to start saving as soon as possible. No matter what age you are, it's never too late to begin saving. You may just have to work quickly to make up for lost time. As such, it also might be worth it to consider cutting unnecessary expenses. Finding a means of earning additional income, and researching potential retirement accounts to find one that best suits your needs.
Subscribe to us for amazing financial content and press bell icon.